Well, yeah, from Salem, I don't know. Do you know if it's faster to come in from McMinnville or down here at the juncture at Willamina, coming from Salem?
I would think that junction.
Yeah.
I think it's really weird that a lot of small families, it seems like it's only 10 to 12 miles away. Somehow.
But if you go like towards Willamina, if you come to Sheridan, Mary, that's longer.
Yeah, well, I took that random.
You mean like Boston Road? Like that road?
That would be good. Like Red Prairie or something.
Oh, yeah, Red Prairie, yeah.
Oh, pardon me. Oh, sorry.
I'd love to sit there.
Sorry, sorry.
It's a-
I just didn't, I didn't focus.
It's one of those things. This might be.
Oh, great, thank you. Yeah, I ordered a mask. It's really cute.
Yeah. I will gather you to know it tomorrow.
Thank you.
Friday is good to be the kids.
Yes.
We're starting how we're reminded. Yeah. All about the stuff.
Did you want to put this in whatever? This is our presenter tonight, but that's kind of important material, so.
I
Okay. Uh-oh.
No problem. You're.
You did.
I would too.
We're all about that. Anything we can do. You wanted to
Revise. Did you get, yeah, the revise there? Okay, I yellow highlighted it, so there wouldn't be quite so much
She
flashing.
has the rules better than I do about how to revise.
Council ghost.
I know.
So Heidi, the email you sent everybody, I don't know if you want to get that too.
Hold on, I'm trying to text them. I'll see if we see. It starts at 6.
Just
I like your shirt.
thank you.
It's very Hawaiian. Actually, shirts are part of the I see guys wearing old
That's the,
road
that's the
shirts.
main
That's
thing.
what you want to
Yeah, is that everybody.
Ford, gentlemen wears. Really? In Michigan?
Wow. 15 miles.
Okay. I think we probably have.
Oh, I already told you.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I told you.
Nice way to rub it in though.
I didn't get to say that.
We talked. He told me about yellow jackets. Keep them in your hand.
Did we lose our visual already on the out?
I'm. Oh.
Heidi, did you unplug it?
Heidi, did you bump my camera?
This is what-
Earlier. Yeah.
It was pretty good.
I guess I need my.
We were all on there.
Heidi had a good TV to talk about.
Or if I just go off and then come back on.
Yeah, tell everybody.
Hey folks, can you hear me?
Probably. Hopefully.
You know if you can hear me, Jen?
It's Kate just getting out.
Oh, okay. Off camera, as long as they can hear us, we can probably do it, that's not a problem. I don't understand.
Or we can just try to sign off at the same time.
I know.
Yeah. Do that.
Let's go.
That was Cale's initial recommendation, just turn everything off and back on.
That's why he can't
I think we would all figure that out.
That's right, we're giving Roxy a chance to get here.
Yeah, I'm here before Roxanne, you.
Okay, we
No,
clearly have
goodness,
video,
I know.
so that's good.
Oh.
Star. Everybody's gonna be like, what happened?
Okay. Oh, we're on now.
Sure are. We kicked everybody out.
Hi, Brooke.
That's great.
Visuals are back.
Roxy is on her way.
We start. Are you on? You can start that.
You tell me when and I'll hit record.
Go ahead.
Recording in progress.
All right, it is March 18th at 6:34, and we are at the City Hall Council Chambers. Everybody please, oh, sorry. Roll call, I suppose, first.
Certainly. George,
Here.
Acuff, Buckles,
Here.
McElroy,
Here.
Hebert, Hodgins.
Here.
Let's stand for the pledge, please. Do I start? I guess. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'm just gonna stay standing, come over here.
So this is for a co-mayor position.
Not you.
Does they each get half a vote? Or is it-
She gets as many votes as she wants.
Are you ready? Okay. I, Cale George,
I, Cale George,
so solemnly and willingly swear
so solemnly and willingly swear
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of
the Charter of the City of Sheridan
the Charter of the City of Sheridan,
and the ordinances of the City of Sheridan,
and the ordinances of the City of Sheridan,
and that I will faithfully and honestly perform the duties of the office of mayor to the best of my ability.
and that I will faithfully and honestly perform the duties of the office of mayor to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Yvonne, there was someone who is in the waiting.
Okay, thank you. Go.
Okay. So are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? We had,
Revised agenda.
yeah, we have the revised agenda. I believe we've moved. Well, do I need to say what the revisions are since we all have the revised agenda, or?
It's good to make the announcement so that we know how it is different.
Okay, so we moved the presentation of Juliette's house to item E, and we moved the vote proclamation recognizing April as Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month right under that. And I believe we've removed items under ordinances and resolutions, J1 and J2, which were resolution 2024C and resolution 2024D. And I believe that's it. Is that, am I right?
I believe so.
We're gonna call the sheriff on her, actually.
Okay, so then up first we have Juliette's house.
I have a little tag with it.
Oh,
Yes, that's right.
Good evening, council. Thank you so much for having us today. Unfortunately, Carol Joa, who many of you know and love, is unable to make it today, but my name is Coleman Crocker, and I am representing Juliette's House, our local child advocacy center and abuse intervention center. And I want to express both her and my sincerest thanks for having us here today to just talk a little bit about National Child Abuse Prevention Month, which is coming up in April. You will receive a flyer that has some explanations of what we're doing here in April, but it's a very important topic, and I know from both myself and Carol and the rest of the team at Juliette's House, she has explained so much of what Sheridan has done and the reputation it has for its dedication to child abuse prevention over the last few years. So I just want to extend everyone at Juliette's most sincerest thanks for that, and talk to you a little bit about what we have coming up this month instead. Starting with our Wheels and Pinwheels event, which is a motorcycle rally that will be taking place on April 6th. That will start in McMinnville, but will travel around to many other towns across Yandell County. It will travel to sites that have been very generous with us to provide space to display a pinwheel display, hundreds of pinwheels representing the number of children that have completed our in-school curriculum that we offer from kindergarten through actually pre-K through high school. Normally, that's not actually my responsibility at Juliette's House, but I've been very lucky in the last couple months myself to be in the schools across all the counties and lead these lessons, and it is a very special thing that continues to improve and continues to serve even more children year by year. And it's very exciting to see the wheels turning and realize that these children also have advocacy or have agency and can really take steps to recognize dangers, to make moves away, to identify safe adults, and of course be reminded that abuse is never going to be their fault. And so since my time with Juliette's House, which is about 6 months now, it's really taken on a very special meaning is our in-school prevention. So Wheels and Pinwheels will be highlighting hundreds of pinwheels in these sites. Special thank you here in Sheridan to Gwen and her team at the Sheridan Library for providing us the space to display hundreds of these pinwheels. Each pinwheel that you'll see there in April will represent 10 children who have completed that. So we had to make it in bunches because there's been been that many children that have taken and completed this very meaningful course. Moving on, we also have our Celebrate the Children Bloom event, which is our biggest fundraising dinner that will be held at in McMinnville on April 27th. I know that last I looked, tickets were selling very well, and so we are very excited that that is continuously a very beneficial event to all of our prevention education programs. And then, of course, we have our Wear Blue Fridays. That's something that we highly encourage a lot of our community partners to do, is to wear the color blue, which is the color for National Child Abuse Prevention Month. We have our own shirts for National Child Abuse Prevention Month that we have created at Juliette's house that are available on our website at the moment. It's a great thing to get an entire organization or a business involved by all wearing blue on Fridays. Specifically, it encourages conversations, meaningful conversations to be had on all of those Fridays. It encourages people to get together and ask questions about this issue. So I highly encourage everyone to check that out, and even if it's not our own shirts, just wear blue on Fridays. It really does spark conversation, and that's really a lot of what this is about, is destigmatizing this typically taboo topic of child abuse and getting people to ask questions about it and just have open conversations, because we, at the end of the day, are the ones responsible for children's safety. We teach them to identify those safe adults, but it is our responsibility that we carry to hold each other accountable and have conversations about child abuse prevention. We also would love to encourage anyone to take any of our trainings that we offer to adults and to youth serving organizations. I know many people in Sheridan have taken what we used to offer, which was Stewards of Children. We have moved on, and Carol and I are in the process of creating a new curriculum that we're offering for adults. That's a very 101 level of child abuse prevention. It focuses on definitely the knowledge and awareness of how prevalent this issue is, but it also teaches the skills to recognize, report, and to just talk again about this topic and check ourselves on our policies and procedures and our safe spaces that we're creating within our youth serving organizations. So across the month of April, encouraging everyone to sign up and register for those trainings. Check out juliette'shouse.org for all of the updates that we are going to have around those trainings. We also offer Safety Net, which is an online safety training that we offer. Specifically, it's kind of geared towards parents, but anyone can take it to kind of understand how kids and families can be safer online. And then we are also excited to announce that we are working with Connect to Protect, which is a multi-state collaborative where hundreds of folks in this field are engaging and trying to create kind of the next version of what Stewards of Children was, to make a much more robust and thorough presentation and full curriculum with a wide variety of topics. So that is something that we are excited that will be a pilot agency that they are trusting to roll this out towards the end of this year. So please keep an eye on us as we approach the end of the year, and there is more trainings even available. I would like to encourage everyone to either scan that code and check out Juliette's house for just consistent updates on both prevention trainings as well as just important articles to talk about this topic and to again continue improving in a trauma-informed way. A lot of agencies and businesses have been gracious partners to us, and I just want to take the time to again say Sheridan has made some fantastic leaps and bounds in the dedication that you all have shown for child abuse prevention over the last few years, and I'm very excited to now be a part of that. So thank you again to your council. I know we have a proclamation to read, but of course, if anyone has any questions, I will make sure I leave my card, and you can reach out to us through our website as well. But I just want to express all of Juliette's house our appreciation for everything you did. Yes.
Did you bring signs for us to put in our yards?
Oh, I don't today, but I am absolutely happy to bring those by another time and drop those off. If here at City Council would be the best place to do so, I am more than happy to bring those by sometime before April.
Okay, good, thank you.
Thank you.
They go pretty quickly, so we can use a double or
Okay, how many roughly can I bring you guys?
probably easily 20.
Oh, absolutely, we can do that.
Okay.
Very good, thank you so much. That does really help. If you see one of those pinwheel displays too, especially when you're going to check out the library, please do take a moment to read the sign, maybe even post about it on any social media. It goes a long way, because again, it's about sparking that conversation. Thanks again, Council.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
You're welcome to stay to hear that.
I would love to.
Okay, do we have a motion to proclaim April as Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month? Oh, I make the the City of Sheridan, Oregon's support of child abuse prevention month, April 2024. Whereas child abuse is one of our nation's most serious public health problems, with scientific studies documenting the link between the abuse of children and a wide range of medical, emotional, psychological, behavioral disorders. And whereas it is estimated that 1 in 4 children will suffer significant abuse before the age of 18. And whereas the physical, emotional, mental, fiscal impact of abuse falls on children of all ages and abilities who come from all economic, racial, and social backgrounds, and these crimes affect many more family members, friends, neighbors, and community. And whereas effective child abuse prevention efforts succeed because of partnerships created among state and local government agencies, schools, faith communities, civic and community organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community, while recognizing that feeling connected to community can be a protective factor against child abuse. And whereas the City of Sheridan is dedicated to stopping child abuse and supporting survivors and their non-offending families while working to prevent it. And whereas each of us has a role to play in stopping the problem of child abuse as part of the solution by learning how to prevent, recognize, and report child abuse, and supporting prevention, education, and empowerment programs for children and youth. Now, therefore, we, the City of Sheridan, do hereby proclaim April 2024 to be Child Abuse Prevention Month.
It's proclaimed.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Danny, there's more, sorry. We reaffirm the City of Sheridan, Oregon's commitment to creating a safer, healthier, more thriving community for our children and taking steps to prevent child abuse through awareness efforts, prevention promotion, and training on responding responsibly. We encourage all citizens to wear blue each Friday in April as a public statement in the City of Sheridan in support of child abuse prevention. We encourage community members to join in awareness rallies on April 6th throughout Hamilton County. Further, we call upon all citizens to invest in the lives of children by learning what they can do to help stop child abuse through Juliette's House, a community resource by visiting juliette'shouse.org. All right. Now we move on to our first public comment period. Yep, okay. The public comment portion of the agenda is the opportunity for the council to listen to the public, but not for dialogue. The public is allowed up to 3 minutes to present information relevant to the city. The topic issue brought up may be referred by the council to the city manager for inclusion on a subsequent council agenda. Council has a discretion to ask questions after comments are concluded. Please note, complaints should be first addressed to the appropriate city department and or the city manager prior to directly addressing the council. Do we have any public comment?
Mayor, I received no public comment or request, but I don't know if there's anyone in the audience that has had an opportunity to, or decided otherwise.
Okay.
Would you like a comment card in order to make a comment? You have to write a card.
Okay. All right. Well, if there is no public comment, we will move on to our public hearing. Okay. Okay. All right, it is March 18th, 2024 at 6:50 p.m. and I'm opening a public hearing regarding the City of Sheridan amending the Sheridan Development Code section 16.203.120 farm uses and livestock case number LA 2024-01. Are there any members of the council that have a bias or conflict of interest? Okay. Are there any objections to the jurisdiction to hear this matter? All right. Are there any objections to the notice that was sent out? Notice was in the News Register and posted on the city's website. All right, I'll let city staff read the required reading and the city planner report.
We don't have we don't have a planner here tonight. That shouldn't say the required reading because you just made you're making the required reading.
Oh, okay.
I don't really want to read the whole staff.
Do you want me to go through it? Okay, so typically we do talk a little bit about the background and how we got here and what we're doing to go forward. So council in front of you and posted on the website and was gone through the planning commission a couple of times and had some real good conversations regarding beekeeping in the city of Sheridan. So it's on March 11th, the planning commission reviewed the amended draft language and held a public hearing regarding the amendments. The planning commission instructed staff to clarify a previously recommended change to the amendment regarding the minimum lot size and where high showing permitted. That was one of the discussions. The discussion has also been how to make sure that people get proper training to be good beekeepers. And that was a real hearty conversation at the planning commission, as well as the lot size and just making sure that people were comfortable. The planning commissioners needed to feel pretty comfortable moving it forward, and they got there. But that is also one of our community members raised the question initially, and so it really goes to show you that, you know, things really do come from the community and can come forward. There's been a lot of hard work put into it, and we also have an individual here who is named Mike, and he has put in a lot of hours and a lot of time, but a lot of patience with the questions and getting people to understand more about beekeeping and the importance of it in our society, like on Earth, right? So I think that I wasn't too prepared to give a findings report, but this is a legislative amendment, so that just means that it only affects the Sheridan code, and that it is a code change. That's what legislative amendment means. The council on page 8 of your packet has several options. Staff is recommending that you adopting the staff report, or sorry, the recommendation is to approve it. And that's right, because we haven't prepared an ordinance yet for this one, right?
No, we did.
You
I
did,
did have
okay.
a chance.
Sorry, that's the same. Okay, so which one of these do you want, Tyler? The recommendation? The sample motion?
Well, not right now because we're just in the public hearing.
Okay, but later, we'll just go through the ordinance process. Okay, sounds good. So unless anybody has any questions for Tyler, myself, or we have the beekeeping master here, Mike. So he is here as well, and so is Amy, who's worked really hard on this. So Mayor?
Yeah, like Heidi said, any questions for staff at this time? Roxy?
Is this where I have questions about this?
I think for staffs right now specifically, is that right, Heidi?
This is not the time for
your question.
for deliberation.
Okay,
So if there are questions for staff that you think would be generally applicable, that would be the time, but we'll have our ordinance up.
that would be no then.
Okay. Great, at this time, if there are any members of the public here to speak in favor, please state your name, city of residence, and your statement. People have up to 5 minutes to speak, we'll be brief and to the point. If you want to reiterate what someone else has already said, it's perfectly fine to simply state that you agree with a certain speaker's statement.
My name is Ralph Padilla. I go by Mike, it's my middle name. And my address is 4194 12th Street, Cutoff, Southeast Salem, Oregon. And I represent the Oregon State Beekeeping Association and was called the residential liaison. What that really involves primarily is interfacing with cities, counties, and the state, which relates to beekeeping fears of people who are gonna get stung, Afghanized bees, which we don't have, farming in the city, which beekeeping in a residential area is not really farming, it's a hobby, and so it doesn't really fit under that thing. So Sheridan has a ban, as it's currently written, on beekeeping in the city. So it turns out that there has been a number of proposed sets of guidelines. And I use the term guidelines because even though you guys will adopt them as rules, beekeepers don't really believe you need specific sets of rules. What you need is basic training in beekeeping and guidance, which is now available through OSU, through a document that they put out. But that being as it is, many cities, counties want to have a set of rules because it makes it easier for their enforcement officers, if they find something wrong, to cite a particular rule rather than a guideline. So the particular one rules that you guys are looking at tonight is actually from the League of Oregon Cities. The League of Oregon Cities was requested about 5 years ago now, maybe a little longer, to come up with something that cities could use as the basis for adopting rules. Your proposal does not include all of the things that the city of Portland has. The city of Portland has some other stuff about licensing and having to pay for a licensing fee and some other things, but most of what you have is from them. Now, that being said, we support the adoption of the rules as you got them at this point. There is one thing, however, that I found I forgot to say to the planning commission. The current rules, the proposed rules, has a limit of 3 hives on 5,000 square foot of lot or larger. 3 hives, that's it. Now, there's the particular petitioner here, Amy, doesn't even have 1 hive, so she's not even looking forward to 3 hives. She's got to have 1 hive first, okay? However, assuming 5 years from now or whatever, Amy might have 3 hives, and somebody calls the city and says, we have a swarm out here, we want somebody to come and pick it up because it's causing a lot of fear. And so Amy picks it up. Now she has 4 hives. So what does she do at this point? So she's technically in violation. And so some cities have adopted a rule that says temporarily between the months of May and August, you can have an additional hive either by picking up a swarm or what's called a split. The split is where your hive gets large enough that it's going to swarm, and you don't want it to swarm because somebody's going to get upset if the swarm ends up under their porch. So the beekeeper will make a split, and then he'll combine them up at the end of the season, and because they can combine up. But so there is a reason why we do that, to have this a little bit leeway so it doesn't get you into a problem later on. So that's the only real comment I have on that. The requirement for the training is all of our associations. We have 9 different regions in the state, and each of our regions give a B class in basic beekeeping. Plus, OSU gives B classes, Chenard's Nursery down in Loma gives B classes, Flying Bee Ranch in Salem separately did B classes. And so you have written in here that a new beekeeper must take B classes. We agree with that. Because we don't really want there to be issues in the city with people having trouble with bees, because then it convinces other people maybe not to allow bees. So,
Yeah.
Any questions?
So if you don't know anything other than bees are good, most of them, and they sting, when you make application, it says starting from June to May 31st, or May 30, whatever. So if I come in tomorrow and apply for a permit, are they gonna give me all the information that I'm going to need to get trained? I mean, does it go with the permit? Or is that up to me to figure it out myself?
As I read it, you can't get the permit unless you've gone through the bee school.
Well, I mean, make an application. So
Right.
you go in and apply for a permit, I said, well, you gotta do, here's,
Yeah, it's in the rules. You have to have passed and have a documentation that shows that you've got.
And it gives all the references, everything
Yes.
from making them to taking the class. This
We
is
do
very
not
helpful.
provide any of that information.
No, but I meant on his pamphlet, I mean, do you have a resource information for ignorant people like me
Yes.
that don't know anything about them, but would like to try it?
Yes. In fact, here's a little bit of one right now.
Good.
Yeah.
And that's
Because I
fine.
brought it, I got 4 of them.
Hey, thank you.
Okay, it's on the bottom thing, it is a listing, okay, but the websites, if you go to the state website, it'll give you all that information, or the booklet, which is free from OSU, called the Guideline for Nuisance-Free Beekeeping in Residential Areas. So, and that is a booklet, 18 pages long, which was handed out earlier, and that is basically what the training for how to put bees in a neighborhood. It doesn't train you to be a beekeeper and how to keep bees. It trains you on how to keep bees not to have a problem in your neighborhood. Okay. The bee school is to train you in both not to cause a problem in your neighborhood and how to keep bees. Did that help answer your question?
Well, I was unfortunately looking at this and trying to listen to you. I'd settle for just having your telephone number and calling you up on the side. And
You can do that.
And I get that from you then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'll send you a pack of
That's okay. I'm gonna give it to my daughter and have her read it for me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So then, is this a question then?
Okay. Anyone else would like to speak in favor? Okay. Right. If there are any people who wish to speak in opposition, now is the time. Please state your name, city of residence, and statement. People have up to 5 minutes to speak. Please be brief and to the point. If you want to reiterate someone else has already said, is it perfectly fine to simply state what you would agree that you agree with a certain speaker's statement. All right. If you wish to speak and are neither in support or you're neither in support or in opposition, but wish to speak regarding the city of Sheridan amending the Sheridan Development Code, section 16.203.120, farm uses and livestock case number LA 2024-01. Okay. All right, with no further comments, the public hearing in the matter of the city of Sheridan amending the Sheridan Development Code, section 16.203.120, farm uses and livestock case number LA 2024-01 is now closed. It is 7:04 p.m. All right, councilors, this is the time for deliberation on the report and any comments set forth by this hearing. So not with this, no. Okay. All right, forget I just did that. We'll actually discuss it when the ordinance comes up later in the meeting. This is J2. So we will discuss it then. Okay. Let me. All right. Next we have the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the city council meeting minutes and the voucher directory? Jim?
I move we accept the council meeting minutes and the voucher directory as given to us.
Second?
All right, we have a first and a second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor? All right, looks unanimous. All right. All right, department reports. Sheriff's report for February 2024 in comparison of 2023 February. Anybody have any questions? Jim?
It's not a question, it's a comment. wanted to know what they've been up to. It takes a long time to go through this entire thing because they covered every single thing, and we wanted to know what they're doing. Well, this does it. It's not exactly the easiest to digest if you want to find out what the police have been doing. There was a citizen that was here 2 or 3 meetings back that said she had knowledge that would allow us to streamline this a little bit, but I didn't get her name. And oh, she's here. Very good.
Can I just add, the sheriff has offered to do a cover sheet. So that should help, I think, with what you're looking for.
Like categories,
Both.
like.
So he'll do both.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering if it would help to have what we're used to getting
Yeah.
as well as this.
Yeah. So you guys
Kind of like a summary and then an in-depth
Yeah.
report, okay.
And then I recently got more about each one of the abbreviations, so I'll put that out for you too.
Okay, roughly,
I can't tell the name of the column, but it says detail, I'm not sure what that means, maybe they could, explain some of that.
I have incidents, case numbers, units, priority, problem.
Problem, it's under the problem.
Okay.
And it's through the report a number of times, but I just don't understand what it is.
Oh, you mean under the priority, it says detail, that word?
Right.
Yes.
Oh, I
That is what
I guess that's just what they categorize the incident
Yeah,
as.
just what is it, what categorized, categories it, yeah.
Yep. Thank you. Any other questions on it?
Okay, I next we can move to the finance specialist of the reports. Any questions about that?
I don't think I have any questions, maybe I have a comment.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, I've been doing this now for 6 years at least, looking through these numbers and trying to get them to make sense. And what I heard before was, trying to put today that I was correct for a change. If you're looking through any of these columns and you get to the bottom, and it shows a percentage, that's either under revenue, that's the percentage of the amount of money the city has forecast to come in. And then if you look under expenditures, that's the percentage of the money that the city has sent out. As I went through here, there was some surprises where I saw we were over 100% in expenditures, and I thought that can be a problem, but if you look through the entire column, you'll find that that isn't the case, that each of these groupings, like materials and services, we are well under any of the spending criteria that we would need to be concerned about, in my opinion. I hope that helps.
Council, is there any other questions about that? Okay, all right. All right, we'll move on to the Public Works Director report.
The board director is online this evening.
There he is.
There he is. Well, the acting public works. He's representing.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Gary.
Hi, Gary. So you have Gary's report. Does anybody have any specific questions or just wanna talk for a little bit?
We just know that they're happy with the new equipment.
Yes, they're very happy with the new equipment. We budgeted and we're able to find good deals and keep within the budget for some new equipment, which is long overdue.
Lucy.
So Gary, last meeting, I mentioned under concerns at the end about Grant Street in Sheridan and what horrible shape it's in. I mean, you take any of those other, this has to do with the chip seal.
Yep.
And, you know, I drove down Balm Street where it goes out to Cherry Hill, which was one of the streets, and I think another one might have been Sherman or Yam Hill, it doesn't really matter. if you put all three of them together, none of them are as bad as, Grant Street is. It's just really a horrible street. Have you been down it lately?
Yep, so, we are getting the measurements for, Grant Street from Dewey to Clark, and then also doing Clark. Getting a price from them on top of what we're already doing chip seal.
I did notice that, you know, I remember, well, I think probably years ago, somebody was thinking that, when the developer developed it, it would fix the road, and I'm out to lunch on that whole comment, but even if they were to patch it so that the holes, there's no dodging the potholes, there's so many of them on the street. If you are thinking there may be a development coming on soon versus the fact that they're gonna use Sheridan Road, when they're gonna use, Grant Street when they're doing Sheridan Road, kinda like PGE was on there last week and you had to use Grant Street. So I was just wondering if there was some kind of a fix that they could put on that street, cause it wasn't on your sheet of roads to correct.
Well, we're gonna have to fill all the potholes, get all those dug out, get all that cleaned up before they can chip seal. So that's gonna be one of our projects, moving forward, is we're gonna get all the measurements and see how that works, but we're also gonna try to get it fixed up in the meantime, because if there is another building gonna go in there, they're supposed to do quite a bit of road work too, from Sheridan on,
Edison?
I can't remember. Yes.
Edison?
No, it's like.
Schley. From Schley over to Grant and then over to Dewey. So our best bang for our buck is to work from Dewey to Clark.
Okay, thank you.
That way we don't fix Grant, the whole thing, and then have a contractor, somebody come in and then dig up all of our work and then do something different.
Okay, Liz?
I have a question about the storm. Was that the incident that I happened to walk by with my dog?
I believe, yeah. Yep, and we're working with everybody to try to get that resolved.
Okay. Alright.
Council, any other questions for Jerry?
They're working very hard right now too. There's always lots of mowing to do this time of the year, as you probably all know. But there's just lots of mowing that goes on, and then they're also trying to just get the parks, back from kind of getting beat up sometimes by the winter storms. And they're working really hard on the Southside Park, and Gary filed a report today for me to the state for the Southside Park work, so I'm very thankful to have us help with that. Yeah, we're working very good as a team, and I'm getting work done and having a good time.
We've got a great crew. We are like a city. We have a great public works crew.
That's
pertaining to that. Are there gonna be profiles?
It's not time for public comment.
Oh,
You have to wait till then.
It's okay.
Actually, I was gonna address that, the city park bathroom restrooms are open now, which is great. There are a lot of people concerned online about that, so I think that, thank you for getting that up and going. And
It was a really bigger project than it seemed like it was going to be. That little old structure had to be winterized on the internal pieces where the plumbing is. So it wasn't easy, but they got it done. It's been on the to-do list for a while. So I was really happy that they were able to do that. But we do need people to take care of it. There's already been vandalism at the city park. There's been a toilet seat that was broken within hours really of opening it back up. So, and it's an old toilet and difficult to find a seat for. So we do need people to, just use it appropriately and be mindful. We're also experiencing a heightened level of inappropriate, I guess, or activity at the recycle center, and I'm very concerned about the amount of people that are dropping garbage in there. And it's getting to be quite the expense to take it all out and to get rid of it. And so we're, the crew is putting some pressure to make sure that we really tell everybody in the community that that is not a garbage dump. is a recycle station for yard debris, for glass, for cardboard, and scrap metal. That is it. And we are trying to find as many of the people as we can possible, and the police do visit their homes. But some people are very tricky about it.
So is that for clear glass or all colored glass?
All colored glass, but
Okay.
not ceramics.
Okay.
Some people make the mistake, like, dishes.
Cause I've been sorting my glass, but I won't.
Nope, no need to.
There's been a run on appliances that have been left there too in the last 2 weeks. Refrigerators, freezers, air conditioners, none of that's acceptable there.
Not good.
I said, yeah, when I was there, I saw 2 fridges by the scrap metal.
Yeah, so that's all costing your city money to get rid of.
Is there, back in the day when, you couldn't litter anymore, I remember seeing big signs on the highway that said $500 fine. Is it possible to put fines, maybe on a bigger platform, or maybe like Liz said, glass but no ceramics?
We have lots of signage. In fact, it's to the point where I worry it's too much signage. We even have a program where if you report illegal dumping, you get a reward. So if somebody wanted to make money, they can sit over there and report everybody. Because is it $25 or $50 or something for ones that are actually legitimate? So it's pretty serious. I just need people to use it appropriately, because a few people can ruin it for everybody.
Alright, Denny?
So the cameras aren't really helping a lot?
We are adding another camera to it, but it is, people are tricky. They
I know, I
exactly
get it.
where
That's
the
great.
camera is and what they do to their license plates and stuff, and just locking it in. So I don't wanna give anybody any ideas, like
No,
Tyler's giving me
no.
a look, so.
So, okay, so we're gonna do more cameras, that's great.
Roxy?
Is it open 24/7?
Yeah, there's been a lot of costs to get this, tailored down, so I don't know if people are aware of that too. You gotta have fencing, you gotta have cameras. This is all like a free service essentially that Sheridan is providing. So if it starts to cost more money, I mean, the staff is really evaluating what we can do over there to get it to be used appropriately, but it's just like when there's a will, there's a way. People are dropping it off right in the middle of the afternoon. So it was like one of my big things when I came here is how to open this up to get more yard debris and recycling to help people to get that off their properties. So.
Well, I can tell you that a lot of people have really thanked the city.
Yeah.
Through me to thank you very much. As a matter of fact, they were cutting some limbs off their trees and they said, when do they dump their, tree stuff? And I said, I think when they get full, but I could be wrong. Somebody knows, so I could tell them, because they were gonna trim their tree and then take the limbs down there. But I just had so many people tell me they're so glad that we have that. I didn't know this other opposite stink was coming with it.
Yeah, we do have a lot of people who really do use it positively, so it's really hard. And in addition, we've even had people that are so wonderful in the community that see the garbage piles and pick them up and help with that. So it's hard, but we've gotta make sure that we're letting people know it's no garbage, no planes. Any questions, call Public Works, call City Hall, we will get you the answer.
How often do they dump those, Gary? The lands, do they dump them all at the same time?
I believe they come every Wednesday, either Wednesday or Thursday they come get them, unless they fill up, then we call them and have them dumped early.
Okay, thank you.
We have a person on
Yep.
staff, or both the sewer people watch it pretty closely.
Brent and Braden are they're on it, and then, unfortunately, they're the ones that end up doing most of the cleanup too, when there's garbage in there, so those guys are doing an incredible job.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you. Yeah. Right, next we have the library director report.
Good evening. I know Heidi touched on it a little bit in Friday Journal, but CCRLS is providing the library with 4 brand new public access computers. We've been having some issues with our computers, so they're providing 4 new ones. They should be installed within the next week or 2. So they're working on getting them all ready and set up with all the software needed for printing We've been pretty busy. We've had lots of new families coming in, getting new cards. So that's great to see. We're adding new books to the collection as quick as we can. That's kind of a long process. It's not as easy as a lot of people think. They've got to have the record put into the system. Then you've got to cover every book. You got to sign label them, draw the stickers. It's a process. So we're getting that done as quick as we can. Gearing up for summer reading program. We're gonna have, one of our gals will be out on maternity leave. So we're starting a little early this year, getting everything planned. The other thing I wanna touch base on is I know we had some very unhappy community members a week ago. We had to close on a Saturday. We closed in an emergency situation. We do not take closing the library lightly at all. We want to be there for our community members. I had somebody out on vacation. Staff earns their vacation. They work hard. They earn their vacation days. An emergency arose, and with everything going on, we will not open the library with just one person for safety reasons. Unfortunately, Saturday, we were left with one staff member. It hurts us more than it hurts the patrons for us not to be open. We do everything in our part to keep the doors open when we are supposed to be open. So I just wanted to get that out there. It is nothing we take lightly. If we're gonna be closed, we try to give advance notice to patrons. This situation was an emergency. We didn't get that notice out. I apologize for that. But we do what we can. So.
You're doing great.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, you do. Good job. Yes, Jim.
It looks like you're doing great with your program participation. It's like a larger number than I remember from last time I saw this report.
Yes, and actually on Saturday, we did a St. Patrick's Day craft, and we had almost 30 participants on Saturday alone, so, yeah, we're super busy.
It looks like your circulation also is very high, even though you didn't get very many new cards. But a lot of the people that already have cards seem to be one book coming back and getting renewed, so that's great.
Yes, we have circulation, and the holds that we're sending out a huge number of items every day. Normally on Tuesdays when we go in, we have 80 some holds to pull off of our shelves in the morning to send out to other libraries in the cooperative. So.
Do you mind, restating what the Saturday hours are with the delivery now?
Yeah, so we're open 10 to 3 to the public, and then we go out and do deliveries from 3:30 to 5:30.
Okay.
So.
And pick up.
And pick up, yeah. So, yeah, there, and we had, where we just go to someone's home and just to pick up their items, so.
That's nice.
Yeah. So, we love that we are able to provide that service to citizens that can't get into the library or just don't have time to get into the library. They can still utilize our collections.
When I was a new mom, I know I would have loved that.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure to read the little ones.
Anything else?
Just thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. City reporter report.
So I'm doing less of a written report because so much of Heidi and I's material overlaps, so we're just kind of like sharing the content. But one thing she did mention in the report that she sent out was that we've kind of got the title tech thing, we sort of had to put it on hold. But it's not as bad as a hold, and I had a meeting with the project person this morning, and we have it on a temporary hold, but it's definitely temporary. I think we're gonna be able to pick right back up about July 1st. which is good timing actually, especially considering it's financials and budget season, so we'll start with the clean year, not have this weird overlap. So we're still on track, it's just a couple months, a little bump in the road with, getting our finance department back up. And a reminder is the SEI filing. If you are sitting on council April 15th, you have to have your SEI, your Statement of Economic Interest, filed by April 15th. So April 15th is kind of the key date. So if you're not on council this April 15th, 2024, you're not required to file the SEI, but I think all of you in this room will be there. So.
I do too as well, right?
Yes, and the interesting part is whoever we appoint to council, if we appoint them on April 1st or April 15th, they are going to also have to file an SEI for this year. So kind of crazy, but yeah, that's a good reminder.
Any questions for you? Yep.
Is the task force got a set schedule now so you can include them on the calendars?
I think I've got it on not April's, but March's. I just was uncertain on April's, but I think when I get the April one out, maybe I can get an updated one too on April 1st, so you have April's.
Thank you.
Do you have the phone number for the SCI filing?
I do. I will get that to you. I will.
Thank you. You could maybe.
Because you can even file with them over the phone if you're not
Yes.
a computer person. Yes.
Thank you. Easy that way.
Okay. Next, do we city report? We think we do.
We have,
City planner report.
nope, we're gonna work on those. They're gonna come back and you'll actually have two. You'll have an economic development report and a city.
Okay, right,
Hang in there.
It's very busy with things I don't like to do. I don't like to do that stuff. I tell you guys every month. There's a lot going on. Maybe stuff that might be ordinances.
Okay. Alright, so next we'll move into ordinances and resolutions. So we have resolution 2024-E. Resolution adopting the city of Sheridan 2024-2026 strategic plan. Jim.
I hadn't been doing my homework well enough, but I did some this weekend. And, talking with Laura, emailing with Laura today, I had some, items that I thought were important enough to be included in the strategic plan that currently aren't in there. I talked with, Heidi and Tyler about this as well, and, they said I should run past Laura. I didn't get her return email until, after I printed this one out, and you all have a copy of it with my name on it. And she said, just go ahead and go through the, strategic plan, if, everyone accepts that the things that I posted on this, sheet, we can go ahead and, if we wanna pass it, just pass it with the additional notes, and she will add them accordingly when, she gets them all.
So Tyler, should we do that before we do any sort of motion?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, alright, Jim, I guess, if everyone's fine with it, Jim, you can just go ahead and go through the strategic plan and, point out the changes.
Okay, on, page 5 of the strategic plan, I did break it down for Laura.
Just start in the packet.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. We've had a lot of trouble with, just naming the Sheridan revitalization movement. This one has it as the downtown revitalization movement, which is not an organization that exists in this town. And there was also no mention of, Rotary in this, metric either, and I recommend that we fix the Sheridan revitalization movement's name and add the Rotary as well, as they are definitely part of the, core people that help this town as a chamber.
Should we add the chamber, since this is about recruiting businesses?
Chamber is there.
It is?
Yeah, chamber is there.
said core, comma, chamber.
Oh, it doesn't say, okay, I'm sorry.
But would it be better to say
Chamber of Commerce.
chamber of commerce or?
Essentially label all these are, maybe even do what Jim likes us to do and get rid of the acronym of said core.
Yeah, we might wanna put
That is
said
what they
core.
go by.
I would use the,
Said core's pretty long, but it's. Go ahead, Liz.
I would use the professional title of those organizations, I like Chamber of Commerce and Sheridan Revitalization Movements. Right.
We could spell out what said core is and just put said core, since people aren't really gonna. I mean, I know that's usually, I think, Liz, isn't it, usually we spell it out first and then use the abbreviation later? I'm sure people get used to seeing said core in the future, so I wanted to just let them know what it is now.
I'll just make some notes.
Okay.
On that same-
Sorry, Jim, before we move on, because they're trying to do this by consensus, if we could just talk about them one at a time.
Okay.
So that.
Okay, so for, adding Sheridan Revitalization Movement and spelling out said core and changing Chamber of Commerce and adding Rotary, is there a consensus to do that?
Isn't it Sheridan, is that Rotary's the title though, is it?
It is, well, they
Sheridan
oscillated between the Sheridan Rotary and the West Valley Rotary, but they've never nailed it down. I think presently it is the Sheridan Rotary.
Yeah. Should we call it Sheridan Rotary then?
Yeah.
Okay. And if it's Rotary, is it one for organization? Is it
Yeah,
Rotary?
That would be Rotary.
Okay. So Sheridan Rotary then. Is everyone in consensus with that? Does that sound agreeable? Okay. Okay. I don't think we need to vote on consensus.
Put the hands up.
Let's wait till the train goes.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you, the train.
Yeah, it is going fast. Last week it was long.
Comments?
Thing to say. That needs to be moved.
Okay.
Okay.
Next, on that same page, under incentivizing new businesses, under the metric there, the bullet again, changes the revitalization movement's name to Downtown Revitalization Group. That just needs to be changed to Shared Revitalization Movement, in my opinion.
Does that sound good with everybody else?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay, on page 6 or page 130, goal 2, development Stony Mountain Reservoir drinking water access and hydroelectric opportunity under the 2026 target. The second bullet down has history published, and as I think we all know, we've received the 180-page document on the Stony Mountain Reservoir, and so I don't believe we need to have that as a target since it's already been achieved.
The thing with that is if we want to add to it, I think that might have been
There's
what.
there's a different one where that comes up.
Yeah, I think that's goal 3. I think Laura,
Yeah, under goal 3 is where we have published the Stony Mountain history and progress. I would recommend 2 documents. Here's what we had and what it was, and now here's our progress. That's what I would recommend for that, but I was starting with this one.
So Jim, what are you proposing on page 6?
I think he's,
I'm on page 6, I'm proposing just take the history published, just delete that bullet.
okay. Does that sound, everybody in agreement with that?
Yes.
And you don't get to vote on that.
Okay, all right, Jim?
Okay, and then on page 132 or page 8, whichever.
7. Ooh, sorry. 7, Jim.
No, I didn't have anything on 7.
Yeah, you did on page
It
7.
says on page 7,
Oh,
goal 3.
shame on me.
You meant page 8, goal.
I did, yeah, I sure did. Yep,
Okay.
my bad, I didn't count either. Apologize. But again, as we were just, I was just talking about with Tyler, under goal 3, enhancing communication with community members, the metric has published a Stony Mountain history and progress. I truly believe we need to keep them abreast of the progress, but again, we've already published the Stony Mountain history, so a sentence similar to keep public advised of progress would suffice, in my opinion.
Maybe just publish, or maybe another word for publish Stony Mountain progress. But I know for me, it's something similar.
And, anybody, everybody?
Is that all right with everybody changing that?
Yes.
Yeah, just cleaning it up, I think.
Agreement history.
No, we don't, just publish Stony Mountain progress.
Yeah, agreement history.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
And then, finally, as I went through here, I didn't see any mention of the master plans that we've been discussing. I noticed immediately the water master plan, as we discussed that a little bit, and since it's getting worked on, we still can't do some things because it's not done yet. I've just made a rash assumption, it could be wrong, that if we want to do something with the sewer and we don't have the sewer master plan, I'm not gonna do anything with that. I've got emergency action plan, what's the little word that you prefer, Heidi?
Operation.
Okay, emergency operations plan. So I think that,
You can call it action, I will let it change.
we've already got those, we don't want to, and then finally, the forestry plan up by Stony Mountain, I think all those should be included, and I don't know where, and Laura did not give me any suggestion as to where to include those, but I believe they need to be in here. If we expect to accomplish some of the goals that we have, we need to get these master plans done, that's why we have master plans.
Okay, so you're wanting to add, like, all of the master plans, or?
Yes.
And state them, not just say all master plans?
No, yeah, I think you need to specify water master plan, sewer master plan, emergency operations and or action plan, and forestry plan.
Okay, and as far as where,
That's the problem, I don't know what goal that would come under.
Heidi, do you have any ideas for that?
Yes, so on page 5, investing in roads, sewers, drinking water and broadband. It says sewers in the pink area, so we can just add sewer, we can add a wastewater facility plan and a stormwater master plan. I was gonna say 2, Jim. And then we can add the water master plan since it's on here, but we're almost done with that one. But why not have a check mark soon? And then the forestry one, I think we could put that under goal 2, the Stony Mountain Reservoir one. So we could essentially, have under the target, since we got rid of one of the targets, we could say, complete forestry plan, I guess.
Was that under
For the
page 7?
2026. That's under
Page 6.
Yeah, page 6 at the top, where it says goal 2 and then developing Stony Mountain Reservoir at a target of complete forestry plan. What do you think? Okay, so all those changes, okay, yeah.
I was gonna ask real quick on page 131. I'm sure it's in another version of this, but we've got a pink bar with no white text.
Yes, Tyler noticed that, and it should say something code enforcement or something, shouldn't it, Tyler? What did you noticed it was missing?
It's about communication. Isn't it?
I'm saying, yeah, sorry, but I can't remember what it was, but we did get an updated one on that.
I think it is involving code, because it says, you know,
Yeah, but it says.
yeah, so,
So we'll make sure that it's there.
whatever that is, it's there. Okay.
Put it back. Jim,
Uh,
was that
Jim-
all? Yeah.
Jim, are there any?
No, that's all that I had.
Good job, Jen.
Okay, all right, well, do we have a motion to adopt, resolution 2024-E, with all of, Councilor Buckles', suggested changes? Liz?
I make a motion to adopt, resolution 2024-E, a resolution adopting the city of Sheridan strategic plan with all of Jim's, amendments? Or can I not use that word, with all of his corrections? Okay, I second.
You can sit so moved too, since I whatever. Okay, all right, we have a first and second, any discussion? Yeah,
Sorry.
all right, Denny.
I'm a little disappointed, we're not a little stronger on code enforcement, because as most of you know, that's why I'm here. I think Jim Buckles and I have left before we're all council with code enforcement. And as late as, December 18th, according to the minutes, the council discussed the code enforcement position description and emphasized that code enforcement is a priority. That was on December 18th. Then we missed a meeting or two. And even on February 5th, we discussed code enforcement and how it fits in with the council's goals. So code enforcement kind of got backed off on in 2 meetings. I don't think with enough discussion, but it is what it is. I'm just pretty disappointed. I'm pretty disappointed how it came down. That's all.
Any other discussion? Right, we'll move into a vote then. All in favor? Looks unanimous, right? We'll move on to the ordinance 2024-03, an ordinance amending the Sheridan Code.
What page is that on?
137.
Thank you, that's where I'm at.
Get the ordinance. Right,
I do the memo on this if you wanted to.
Ordinance? Yeah. Which page is that?
We're on 137.
I feel like we talked about this earlier with the public hearing, right? Is there any questions? I mean, it's the same, the public, the planning commission held multiple meetings, discussed the proposed amendments, public hearing on March 11th, and then they voted unanimously to recommend to the city council, proposed changes, minor edits. Tyler's been working on some of the edits.
Yeah, which I don't, I give it.
Keep running away, or maybe that's what this is, like a delay. Tonight, the council can adopt this ordinance with 3 readings.
okay, so I know Roxy had a question. This is,
So did I.
okay, man, good. Okay, so we can probably have questions now, is that appropriate? Okay, all right, Roxy, go ahead.
As long as they're going down the bee trail.
Scooting over.
Moving right along, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Much better, I like that, that's.
Our ordinance does not include pollination as in for mason bees. Mason bees do not have a queen, they do not produce honey, and they don't have a hive. And the males die very soon. There's very little protection that they have necessary. They just produce and they pollinate 120 times more than a honeybee does. The ordinance is just specifically on honeybees, and mason bees are a little different since they don't have their hive. They lay eggs in just like a cylindrical cone or in spots, and they're not in one area, a lot of them in one area. So I would like us to be able to include the mason bees in this ordinance as long as they're bees, so that people can cultivate these and help with the pollination. It's really important. We have lost 60% of our honeybees and don't have another insect that will pollinate as much as the mason bee will.
We can check with Tyler, because it looked like in the original, the change to the ordinance that just crosses out bees. So I wonder if that is encompassed, I know it does state honeybees later in the ordinance, but I'm wondering
Yeah,
if
and
that.
they definitely use the genus and, you know, the name, the specific name. I just wanna make sure that we don't narrow it down to only that genus so that we can't include mason bees.
We could always make that change.
So can you give me a little bit more education, because I saw where they were selling mason bees.
Yeah, I
at the
know, I was
school.
gonna get-
And I was thinking, well, they don't
Oh,
make
where?
honey. They don't make it, well, they were selling them at the high school last weekend. But I thought, well, I don't know if they make honey or not. So I'm a little ignorant in that whole thing, that they do pollinate, but they don't live in a hive.
That's their job. Their hair is on their bellies instead of their back legs, so they pollinate everything they touch.
Jim?
Well, for the last 3 years, my wife's been buying the mason bees down at the high school. And we have the little cylindrical things with the little mud in the ends, and I don't know if we get robbed, but they don't seem to do anything.
It's hard to get a good supply.
I mean, I'm not against them because, you know, my wife said this year, nope, not doing it this time. 3 times is enough.
Well, if it's all right with the rest of the council, why don't we have Mike come back up since he's here?
Yeah, so it's part of the break.
I have mason bees as well as honeybees, but mason bees have never been regulated because they don't sting. That's the big issue with honeybees. And so I don't know of any city that has any regulations against mason bees. They're just like insects that are out there. And the only thing you do as a mason beekeeper is you provide them a little home with the little tubes and so forth. And if you're lucky, the mason bees come back the next year because they hatch out in the spring and they're only out for about 2 or 3 months or so. And then they build a little mud nest inside the tubes and that carries them over until the next spring. So they all die off every year. And what you get is a new crop every year. So they don't produce honey. They don't have colonies with mass numbers of bees. Individual mason bees hatch out from those tubes. There's like 8 to 10 of mason bee cocoons inside these little cardboard tubes, or you can, if you're cheap like me, instead of buying a cardboard tube, you take a 4x4 and drill a bunch of holes in it, and you can use that. So, yeah, and they don't sting, and they are very effective, and what she says is true. The advantage, real advantage of mason bees, they get it out earlier than honeybees. They're out in February.
They're already out.
Where honeybees are just, you know, they come out later. And they're more efficient in the sense that they go to a lot more flowers than honeybees do. They're much smaller in numbers. I mean, if you have a little piece of 4x4, you might have 30 or 40 little tubes in there. You're only gonna get 300 or 400 mason bees, where if you have lots of honeybees, you're gonna get 25,000 to 50,000. And so that's the big difference. Even though the mason bee is more effective as an individual, it's not more effective as a colony, because it's really not a colony. It's a bunch of individual bees. So I don't know that you could include mason bees in here, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense because you're talking about registration, you're talking about training. I mean, you could say, you could add a note to the code that says mason bees are not prohibited, or, you know, I mean, just in it for clarification, say mason bees are allowed within Sheridan without any requirements for licensing. Just put it as part of the rule. That way then it helps, I think, you and your concern about that.
Okay, so in your experience, you haven't seen any like specific, like city resolutions specifically saying mason bees are allowed? Okay.
Well, let me rephrase that. That's not exactly true, because there are some cities that are called bee cities, and some of them will have a resolution as supporting honeybees and mason bees, okay, as part of the city resolution we support. They're called bee cities. I mean, I think Eugene is a bee city, okay? You guys can become a bee city.
I think we should be a bee city.
Bee
city, bee city.
Anything else? All right, thank you.
I just wanted, yeah, thank you for that information.
Oh.
And they can get built up if enough people will raise them and cultivate them.
Something I don't see, which is
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that, because I didn't know the difference. I'd like to see what one looks like, hair on the belly versus hair on the legs, but.
They're about half the size of a honeybee.
Are they really tiny?
And they're kind of bluish,
And they're
greenish,
black,
they got a
yeah,
shine to
darker.
them. Yeah.
So
They
is
think
it,
they're a fly.
is it time to incorporate that into, not yet? Is it a not yet moment?
I don't know what you're asking.
What Roxanne, what this gentleman just said, adding some verbiage to the B policy that says that, just acknowledging this, you got the name of it already, yeah, Mason B, I'm sorry.
I think, Tyler, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if you'd like to make a motion to, well, actually, since this is a ordinance,
I'm
I'm not
prepared.
sure. Okay. Tyler, are we doing this?
Well, I wasn't here to provide the information, but this will not, this doesn't prohibit any other animals. And then lays out a specific process for keeping honeybees. So mason bees are allowed under this ordinance.
I'm just concerned with people in town. They've got honeybees, or they've got bees, you know.
Would it be
Concerned about.
Oh, social media.
No, I think she would just like it clarified.
Differentiate the difference.
So what we were talking about is like adding a note at the end that says mason bees are allowed without any certification or training, anything like that. Would that be?
I don't think it's at all necessary, and I would put it in, but you guys are the boss. If we want to call out one particular subset of bees, then we say those are allowed, we can move that.
All right, Eddie?
So I bet 75% of the community wouldn't even know what a mason bee is, but they saw it. They're so small, they're just an insect, little bug flying around. Side. Again, they don't sting, they don't create a problem, so I just doubt anybody would really care about that. Like Tyler said, it's covered.
So, first of all, I understand that, but I know that sometimes people misinterpret the lack of information that is said at a council meeting to, if they saw the Boy Scouts or whoever was selling bees at the school saying, and it said specifically Mason over honey, I think it would just kind of take care of those hearsayers. That would be saying something negative, but is this yet the time for me to mention something about the actual honey bees in the ordinance, or do we bring the vote? Can I say something? Yeah. So I think what this gentleman was saying, to make an exception, I had to write it down because I'm not used to honeybees either, but I plan to be. Splitting hives during the months of June through August, did you say, when hives are?
May through August.
Was it May through August? And because somebody might, if you were the only guy that you knew that had bees, and I said, take my bees, because that's what I find in real estate, hey, you want some bees? That, you know, you're living out in the country, but if you're living in town, he said to just have an exception during those months, or it must be when they're doing their splitting or
Swarming and splitting.
Sorry, see, I don't know my terminology yet. But maybe we should put that in there in case somebody wanted to, you know, be a temporary holdover, I would imagine, until somebody else came to occupy those bees.
Okay. Tyler, is that, or should we,
'Cause I didn't know about that.
would it be more work to approve what we have now and then amend it, adding that later? Because I don't.
That would be more.
Okay. Okay.
That'd be another.
Okay, okay,
Just change it.
so, okay, we can, if changing it, then makes it easier, then, do that, we might want to,
Get his specific.
get specific verbiage on that.
Can I voice it?
Sure.
You say something to akin to during the months, between the months of May and August, additional hive is allowed as a result of picking up a swarm or making a split to avoid a swarm.
Like it.
You would add that after where you have the limit on the number. You have 3 hives per 5,000, you would add it after that, or that type of thing.
So, as a result of taking in a swarm or to reduce a
To make
swarm.
a split of the large hive.
Because otherwise they swarm and move to somewhere
Yeah,
bigger.
that's how
don't split them.
honeybees increase the numbers of hives, they split
with half to a third of the hive to set up a new colony, and that's what a swarm is, okay? But if the beekeeper doesn't do that automatically, the bees will swarm, and then they'll get a call to come and get the swarm. Now, you don't always have to do it, but it's something that is where you have a really strong hive. You want that hive not to swarm, because you lose bees in the process, you lose your honey yield also in the process. So you'd like to stop that if you can.
I've actually seen people who wanted them killed on their property, and I've always looked for bee, but now I have a new resource to save them instead of, I said, don't do that.
No. Well.
Thank you again. Right, so Tyler, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but for the motion to introduce this ordinance, should we add the language?
Yeah, we would need to clarify this as amended, and I had some proposed edits too that I emailed to you.
Want me to show it?
Did they go through?
Yes, can we get to that screen real quick? I got a lot happening on this screen.
So I had proposed clarifying because this first paragraph was amended when we added the chicken permit process. I felt like the beekeeping exception was similar, so Heidi and I thought it might just flow a little better if we specified that honeybees are specifically allowed under section C. And then if you could scroll down, I recapitalized all of the cities. That's why they are all showing there, because most of them are not capitalized. I'm sorry, all the changes will be showing, Yvonne, so if you just want to scroll
in
through
red.
all the, yeah.
Whoops, was that too far?
Yeah, so there was a footnote that I deleted because I don't think that we should have any footnotes in our code. It's confusing about whether it's actually just informational or actual code, and that it was only informational, so I proposed to delete that. I thought there was another section that I but
there you go.
Oh, thank you. And I proposed deleting section 9 and 10 and 11. If you go to the next page. Because that's all language that we don't want to codify in this section of beekeeping. If this text that was proposed was the entire language that we were adopting, that's the sort of ordinance language. But we have our secondary ordinance information as an ordinance with the updated language as an attachment. So those were the changes that I had proposed, and I changed the font to this because I have inappropriately strong preference on fonts.
Back to time to be rolling on this.
Yes. Thank you for noticing.
We're old school.
Right, well, do we have a motion to introduce ordinance 2024-03, an ordinance amending the Sheridan Development Code, Title 16 of the Sheridan Municipal Code relating to beekeeping, read by title only with Tyler's changes, as well as adding language in the ordinance that states that in May through August, they're able to take in a additional hive to handle a swarm or to split a hive to reduce a swarm. Then sorry.
I just have a quick question. I think he said temporarily.
Temporarily.
An additional one. I thought maybe
Okay.
temporary was important.
That's good. That is good. Okay.
I have proposed language if I can interrupt your call for a motion.
Go ahead.
So I would propose as H under subsection H, under section 3. We add the language, one additional hive is permitted on a temporary basis from May 1st through August 31st. And then, I didn't actually have the rest of it, but to prevent a hive split or.
No, so it's, so take, yeah, to prevent a,
To prevent a split.
no,
or
well,
to take it.
sorry, to take in a swarm or to make a split, to
Make a
reduce the
split.
Yeah.
We don't want to make a swarm or prevent a split.
Okay.
We're all learning about bees.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I'm learning. Obviously, that just showed that.
Does that include mason bees, just as an acknowledgement?
It didn't, but if we would like to add a note at the very end, let's say mason bees are allowed without anything, Tyler doesn't think we need to, but that is up to us.
I think that would, I would think that that would be a good thing just to mention, just down the road, somebody says, you can just say, go look at the ordinance, it says mason bees are okay.
All right, does somebody want to make a motion to approve the ordinance with Tyler's changes and add a note that mason bees are allowed?
I so moved.
Very good. Second.
Yeah, does she have to say the words?
No, since I said it, she can just say that.
Okay.
All right. All right, we have a first and a second. Do we have any more discussion? Okay, let me go back to my. Okay, all right, so now we vote. So I don't vote anymore, sorry. Vote by a show of hands. All right, that was unanimous.
Now, I'm the one that's lost, Cale. Okay, ordinance 2024-03, an ordinance amending the Sheridan Development Code, Title 16 of the Sheridan Municipal Code relating to beekeeping.
Make a motion, we accept the reading?
Second. All right, any discussion? All right, you want to do a roll call vote?
Yes. Acuff,
Yes.
Buckles,
Aye.
McElroy,
Yes.
Hebert,
Aye.
Hodgins.
Yes.
Do you have a motion to read the ordinance for?
I would make a motion that we introduce ordinance 2024-03, second reading by title only with the previous amendments noted.
Second.
job.
Okay, all right, any discussion on that? No, okay, all right, vote by show of hands. All right, that vote is unanimous.
Ordinance 2024-03, an ordinance amending the Sheridan Development Code, Title 16 of the Sheridan Municipal Code relating to beekeeping.
Make a motion, we accept the reading? Second.
Okay. Any discussion on that? No, okay, Yvonne?
Acuff,
Yes.
Buckles,
Aye.
McElroy,
Yes.
Hebert,
Aye.
Hodgins.
Yes.
Before we move on, sorry, Cale, we're gonna go off script here, but because we changed the language of the ordinance, we cannot adopt it with 3 readings at this meeting. So we will have to defer our 3rd reading to the next meeting.
But only one reading at the next meeting, right?
That it will be the 3rd and final reading.
At that time, we'll also have the changes available to be seen, right?
Maybe.
Heidi, go ahead.
So since Amy would like to have her bees as soon as possible, do you think that you would consider redoing the next reading at the work session, turn it to a special session?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you going first?
Well, I'm not sure if that's just my decision, but if it's, okay, yeah, that's, yeah, we can have it be special. We can take care of it then.
Be a special session. I saw what you did there.
Well, you actually heard it.
I didn't mean to do that. Okay, all right, well,
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah.
Getting closer, Amy. Keep hanging in there. That's been a year.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, moving on, any unfinished business? That says none. Okay. Sorry, Jim?
I think now is as good a time as any. I think one thing that's very unfinished question about the $225,000 that people.
We can talk about that during mayor council comments if there's gonna be a discussion on it.
Okay.
Just not just gonna pop it in.
Can you send that?
Yeah, we'll wait till, mayor council comments for that. Okay, all right, any other new business? Okay. Sorry, unfinished business, we do have new business, okay. All right, new business, budget committee members' applications. Everybody, look at those, everybody did, any questions or?
Are we filling 2 seats or 1?
Two, well, technically 3 seats, but we've only had 2 applicants, so.
Oh, okay,
So, yes, 2.
okay.
But applications will still be, taken. Yeah, so we'll still be taking applications for the budget committee, up until at least May 1st, that's when the first notice goes out, probably even.
Yes, I did not. I'd have to look at the budget calendar that's in front of you to be exact. That sounds. Okay.
Yeah, I had it too, but I don't know where it went. But, okay. So here we go. Okay, yeah, looks like, it looks like the first notice of the budget meeting is May 1st, but we don't actually meet until May 23rd, so.
Let me look here. The council meeting for that month would be the 6th and the 20th. So we'd have to have the application by noon on the 16th, May 16th.
Okay, so if anyone else,
The training is on.
Yeah, they would miss the training, but it's recorded, they can watch it.
okay, so if there's any other, people who want to apply to be on the budget committee, they have until May 16th.
Unless otherwise filled. So I would say,
Okay,
we'll take the applications. If we get some.
posted until
meeting,
May 19th until filled.
Or unless filled.
Or unless filled.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rocky.
Can Mayor fill those positions now? So, from the applications we
Yes.
have?
He's getting ready.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, I'm not too sure the exact date of this, but I'd like to appoint, Sandra Walker and, Rich Cox Senior to the budget committee. I do that, right?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. So next is the process for filling vacant council seats. Tyler, would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, we briefly discussed it at the March 12th, 11th. This is the 3rd week in a row of having a council meeting, and it feels like it. So with Mayor George now serving, we have a vacant seat on the council. So, what was decided on is the council will accept applications to be appointed to the open seat. And those applications will be accepted until noon on Thursday, March 28th, 2024. And then the city council will consider all of the applications that are received and make the appointment at the April 1st, 2024 special session. So it already been a special session already. And at that time, we will ask the applicants to attend that meeting, and the council will have an opportunity to interrogate them nicely. Or I guess not nicely. The rules of decorum.
There you go.
Okay. All right.
Are there any questions for me? I don't think for me.
Deadline that Thursday, but at noon, isn't it?
Yes.
At noon on Thursday, March 28th, 2024.
That part is important.
Pacific Daylight.
No.
Or wait, Pacific Standard.
Just say it noon.
Okay. All right, next, police center insurance. Heidi, is that,
Oh, sorry, before we move on, for anybody who's listening, if you apply and you're appointed, you will have to fill out the SEI form by April 15th.
It's easy for them to fill out.
Especially if you call.
Organics, don't let that scare anybody.
Yeah.
It's
You also, counselors have this to hand out if you would like to give that to people. It's right inside your.
Oh, okay, nice, an application.
Okay, so on page 155, this is the information about the cooling center. This is just picking up where we left off last year, where we didn't get to go actually last year. By the time we got all the kinks worked out, the fall was here. So the American Legion is still up for being a partner with the city. It's going to cost still the difference of $2,000 with the American, or for the Legion's extra insurance. The cooling center means that it is daytime only. When you use the word shelter, that means overnight. This is a cooling center, day only. And so we still have some expenses to, it was up to $2,000 for that. So we do have a couple of other expenses that I'm very much hoping still to fall within that $2,000. We need like some things that needed to be purchased. There was like a journal, and it's just very light snacks were coming from the across the street at the food bank. Those are provided there. And then I have a community member who is going to be the volunteer coordinator, and so her and I are going to get together, need to get together and work out the details for how that works, kind of like an old school phone tree in some ways, like an email chain. And that will be for people to have somewhat of a notice that they, we need to make sure that there's enough staffing for that too, that people are, well, not staffing, but volunteer staffing, that people are available to do that work, right? Because it can happen and we don't have a lot of notice, so we need to make sure we do that. The American Legion is also asking that there's opportunities for their volunteers to be trained. I'm hopeful to get that training for free. But it would also be good, and I think just to have those couple of bigger trainings in the communities, such as the Narcan one that needs to be done. And we also need to think about offering, what was it? Oh, the first aid, what's the other one? CPR, I believe, for the volunteers. So I'll be working with the volunteer coordinator on that and then coming up with a couple of training options. So that's the update.
Didn't some of us already go through a training for this? I thought we went through a training.
Yes, there was a training, but there very well could be new people coming.
Okay.
And so we need to, and you're right, there's also that training too with the state, that when they came out and did a really nice training. And then there was a training that I think that the county emergency manager put on too. So there's been lots of opportunities, and those were all free, but we just need to make sure that our new pool of volunteers also has that training. And one of the things when you sign up to be like on this phone tree or email tree, right, for your availability, is you mark whether or not you have, those different trainings, right, that you've gone through the specialized training. So everybody has to go through the training or read the manual for the cooling center volunteers. They have to read that. So you have to mark off that you've done that, and then there's a little place to mark if you've had any of those other trainings, so that they can staff it all and make sure that there's someone available that's had at least one of those. But it is very detailed, the manual. Okay. So really nothing to vote on unless you didn't want us to go forward, but there is a resolution that's already approved from last year. Okay.
Yeah, right, you can go ahead and city manager.
Sure, Angela, the code enforcement and emergency manager, she started today, and she's already doing a very impressive job. She is a very good, she's gonna be great at the job, so I'm very excited to have her aboard. And see, she was a go-getter, that's for sure. Note. You have the rest of my memo in front of you. I don't know if there's something specific people want me to talk about. I know Jim and I had a conversation today. Yes, Jim?
Well, this is really a fair conversation today. There's two things, and since you brought them up, you've had meetings with the engineers on March 14th. Not a report, but I assume they gave you some information you might be able to share.
That report was written before that meeting happened, and we did not talk about either of engineering team, and Heidi was unable to attend that portion of it. Yeah. We didn't talk about either of these.
What about the higher building?
The higher building got windows in it. Which was very nice. The top transom windows. He has not wrote back to me. Keisha's on the line. I wonder if she could text me if she's heard from him. But I have not heard from him in probably 6 weeks, so I was very glad to see that there was work done. I have attempted several times to contact him, but in order for me to be 100% sure when I say these things out loud about people, I do like to look at my phone right at this very minute, because who knows.
He did get
Go ahead.
back to us, maybe it was, I don't know if it was quite 6 weeks. It's been a while, it's been a couple weeks. I offered to help him with any sort of
That's
construction,
right.
and
You
he did
did
get back to
contact with her.
Heidi and TK, but that's still been maybe 2-3 weeks, so. But he gave us a little bit of an update, but he didn't say he was gonna be putting in windows, so that was nice to see.
It is. TK says she has not heard from him either, so, but he did make contact, a while ago. Okay, TK says she'll attempt to make contact. Okay. Anything else? That's on here. Yvonne talked about the, Title Tech migration. It's just a really busy place these days, and I have 2 new direct reports that are starting this week, and then next week the part-time HR person starts. So I'll be busy training, and then we're also getting all the I's dotted and the T's crossed in the finance department, and to make sure that there's proper training there. And then Yvonne and I will hopefully start working on the job description for that, but there's a lot going on, and there's even emergency management issues going on that are very taking a lot of precedence.
Jim, real quick, if I can ask, so as far as, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to do this, I can see what our job description was for our business manager, if that would help.
Yeah, I have about 7 other ones that I researched, but now I just.
I don't know if the school business one might
Pull
not
it
help as
together.
much for this situation,
I
but
would like
we
to see
could share that too. Okay, go ahead, Jim.
On the safe routes to school, are we working with the school district on that? I mean, yes, we want to have our kids be safe, but it seems like they have an interest in that also.
Yes, Cale, Mayor, where's another hat?
Yeah, I've been helping with that too. It sounds like we're gonna go for engineering and construction grant, because there's some items that said need to be engineered and some that we can just get constructed. And Heidi looked into all that. It sounds like we can apply for both at the same time, which is nice. We don't have to do one or the other. So that's moving along. I don't think the schools had any other suggestions, so I think Heidi's kind of moving forward with that.
Yeah, and this is just the phase 1 application. Well, Gary and Kenny are also helping me with some of the very specific street questions, because we're trying to make sure that our application gets the highest amount of points possible. So they give like a guide that says, you'll get this many points for this many things, right? And if you can show all of the high ones, then of course you have a higher opportunity. However, I have started to learn how extremely competitive it is. So we can just hope. But there's a phase 1, and that's like a shorter version of the application. And then if you get invited, because you're scoring so high, Gary wants to say something obvious. He loves safe routes to school. And then the part 2 application is a lot more work intensive to put together, but they don't want you to go through all of that.
Okay, Gary, do you want to add something?
In the meeting we had last week, I believe they said that where we are set up good is we don't have a whole bunch of overlay and street work. Ours is mainly sidewalk and pedestrian crossing work. So that was one good kind of kudos or hint that we got for our application, that we're in a good spot for what we're doing.
Liz?
Is that for Cornwall Street or for out here at the high school? You mean at the elementary or at the high school?
Yes.
Yes,
Mostly at the high school is gonna be our focus, and because of the street. Bridge Street is so busy. And it is a very weird map, but last night I was doing a lot of research into this, and that school is in an area that has more of the criteria, the need criteria that they're looking for. So that will be the main application, but actually as it works out, our engineers believe that we can do like everything that's listed in our planning. So last year, remember, we did the planning grant and then it produced like a report, and we're applying for everything in there. And then that's another reason why we're gonna score a little higher, is because we're sticking to what that was and not asking for other things or any infill and stuff. So I don't wanna get anybody's hopes high, because last night the research and then listening to this other guy, it's a pretty long shot. But we can just do the best that we can for this. And I'm glad that we have two essential applications going in, one for engineering work, because some of it is very detailed engineering that needs to happen with some of the evaluation of these crosswalks essentially. And then, so that's one, and then the other is the construction, and for these like signs, lots of them, the rapid response, I don't remember. What do they call it? Rapid response, Gary, what are those called?
RRSB.
Yeah, rapid flashing beacon response, those words may be out of order.
Rapid response flashing beacon.
Yeah. So, anyways.
And one other thing too, they said that since we're so close, because the school's so close to Highway 18
Yes.
and 18B, that we can have some of that, even though the speeds won't justify everything, but just the fact that we're in such close proximity and Sheridan Road is a feeder off of that, then that helps us as well.
We're really working our angles here. And Gary was successful in Amity when he was the public works director there, so he's trying to.
Experience.
Yes, experience, good. Okay. So.
Are there any other questions for Gary or for Heidi or her report?
I don't have a question, but the flyer that you have, I mean, I can put that in my window of my office.
Yes.
Are you going to do something like maybe in the bulletins to, because I know it's really important, even if people don't have anything to say, to
Let me
show
pass
up
this
for
around.
that.
Oh, yeah.
This is so important that people go to, if you like, the river. So the idea, there's been a group of volunteers that have been meeting for over a year, and they've been working on the Hubert Memorial Plaza and getting the river access and having a river connected trail. So hopefully to start Grand Run, if that maybe will and and then all the way down at least to Lafayette. And there are lots of organizations that have really got involved, like, I think it's called Taste McFinville or Taste Newburgh, Visit McFinville, vice versa. Visit McFinville, thank you. And so they're doing a lot of work for this. We helped with sponsoring an application to get a person from the National Park System to give, so it's a grant, but it's not any sort of money. It's just that they send a person out to get everything coded with all the plans. And so that person will come out and really work on the development of the river plan. So we're hopeful to get that this summer. That's a work that we're doing. And this is an open house, and they really want people to come out and show their support for it or their concerns. We need to know the concerns early on so that those can be addressed. But the more numbers of people that come out, the better we're looking for grants at the state level and at the federal level. So thank you for remembering that.
That's right. And Cale, over here. Is it possible to put on the school's reader board, you want river access, come to the meeting on April 8th? Just something kind of like just a blast, you know, to just get enough attention to make them want to show up, because it is at the high school, and maybe people who, you know, maybe they'll be more willing to go to a gathering. We haven't had a lot of luck with townhouses, but if they want river access, it'd be really important to have that meeting.
Yeah. I'll make it so.
If you want it, show up.
Townhouses.
Yeah.
Call it townhouse.
Oh, sorry.
It's a realtor.
I still have to write my realtor mode, sorry.
But yeah, Mayor George worked on, so thank you for getting that, us all secured with the school location. come to that, come to it as a counselor and the mayor, we'll have to post it for everyone. But it will be a good time. It's put on by the Visit McKenville.
Maybe by the next meeting, you have some of these flyers, we can have businesses.
Yeah, we should definitely do that.
And we're picking up them.
Let's have it, Megan.
I don't know the one that's still open.
I have a question about this. Do you have, there's a barcode to register for the meeting. Do you have to register for it before you go to it?
No, I think that they're just kind of hoping to get, you don't have to register, but it's helpful so that they don't have too many volunteer, people coming in to help run the show or.
They have enough and not too much.
Yeah. Or not enough.
If you'd like to get, these out to businesses, we might wanna get these out sooner than next.
Yeah, I will.
We
can just print them.
Yeah, we can print them and get them to you tonight, or I can bring them by tomorrow.
That'd be great.
Just cause I don't wanna wait till April 1st to start getting them out.
Well, I wasn't sure how long people's memories can retain something either, like, oh, that's 3 weeks out, and then they space out and forget, so I wasn't sure.
Or if there's some businesses who'd like to keep it up.
Oh, I'll definitely put them on there.
I'll put it in my windows too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, any other questions for Heidi? Okay, all right, we'll move on to our second public comment period. This is the same rules as the first comment period. Read the rules again, in case anybody missed the rules, but, otherwise, just go on to.
I have one from a gentleman that left, and I'll read it.
Yvonne, is there any sort of order?
No, not necessarily, just.
All right, so first one, Joseph Harrison. Are you a city Sheridan resident?
I am.
You are,
Joe Harrison, and I live in Sheridan.
Okay.
If this information is available somewhere else, I apologize for the question. I've been out of town quite a bit lately. I applied for, there were two, I put in 2 applications, one for a voting position, one for a non-voting position on Parks and Rec Commission. And now I know that there is one of each seat available. I was given a rumor that there were gonna be discussions voting about it tonight. I'm just wondering if somebody could give me any more information on this, or where I can find the information so I don't have to ask you here.
Okay, I have a, Heidi will get back to you, on that, she'll have the answers for you.
Okay, so something I probably shouldn't have asked here.
No, that's totally appropriate, you did the right thing, it's just, we don't go back and forth during public comments, usually the public will give us input, and then, we retain it, and then, it's not like a question and answer.
Okay.
But yeah, Heidi will get, in contact, she has your, well, she doesn't have your email
I
address.
have his application.
Okay.
I know what's going on.
Okay, okay, yeah, so Heidi will be in contact with you.
Okay, I do have another, I'm not sure. I'd just like to say, I wanna, on record, give thanks to Mr. Neely over here. A lot of us that are either too busy or honestly forget about the night that this is supposed to happen. I watch these at home all the time. He's unlimited equipment over there. I was just curious. I'm assuming these are for recording purposes, for your guys' use if you have to go back and find something in a meeting. Is there any way that they could be hooked up to maybe amplified sound? Not that you really care, but like when I'm at home and I'm watching it on YouTube on my television, I have to turn it up to like 80 to hear you guys. And then when everybody laughs at once, I wake up my kid in the next room. So I would suggest maybe if there could be like a couple of speakers or something like that, so that, I mean, social media is becoming the norm everywhere now. 20 years ago, you would have never thought about this. Nowadays, a lot of us get into our information, and I'm glad to see as many people in the gallery, is that what they call it? The gallery. I'm glad to see as many people that do show up for these meetings, but some of us just can't, and we rely on Joe, people like Joe, because some of us aren't smart enough to look up websites and stuff either. So people like Joe make this really, really handy. If we can find a way to make it so his little microphone picks you guys up better, that would be really, really beneficial to a lot of us that are trying to watch and have a kid sleeping in a crib in the same room. That's all, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, next we have Stephen Ray back.
Hello. First, so I am outside the city limits of Sheridan. I came primarily for the reports, the sheriff's reports, the public works reports, and I was a little disheartened to hear that a lot of it was, you guys had all reviewed the reports and nothing was really talked about other than that you were happy with the report, so nothing was really shared with the public on that. I understand this is not a back and forth, but perhaps during the mayor comments, is there any place where those reports are available to the public? Because I did not see them at a quick glance on the Sheridan website. Thank you.
All right, next we have Lisa Bonita.
Hi. I'm not here to throw anybody under the bus by any means, and I appreciate your comment because the sheriff's report would be nice, and I can't help with that. I think we spoke briefly at the fish fry. And I'm sorry, I was not feeling well during last Tuesday's special session, so, but I did have a comment that I would like to make on that special session. And it does have to do with the sheriff's report. I understand that your email from a known Sheridan resident wasn't able to be read because a name couldn't be provided. And I know rules are rules, I totally accept that. But when Liz made a comment about some vehicle thefts on the bottom of Cherry Hill, it just seemed like she was kind of cut off rather quickly, as, oh, well, I'll inform law enforcement, but they're really busy. Now, I was here for the special sheriff's presentation in person where they said, we will go where you direct us. I was involved in the pit count on the street team. We were provided a map with every location that we should visit to see if we could get, numbers. And unfortunately, I was the only one who showed up and worked with the White Cat volunteer for the street team. So we made the circuit, and it started on a really rainy morning, but we made that circuit every place on that map. Some places, because she was quite popular on her phone, so I would get out alone, which I don't have a problem with. I talk to people, on my walks all the time. I think I brought a visitor in. But anyways, my point is, we drove I wasn't comfortable with like knocking on camp trailers or an abandoned house, but we made that circuit many times, and I was there for probably almost 6 hours on my shift. And, we brought in as many people as we could. Even if the person wasn't homeless, I would get out and it's like, hey, if you know of anybody, please direct them to the Legion Hall. I'm really good about that. And so my point is, every circuit didn't take long at all. So whatever time law enforcement has, if they could maybe make that route, and there is such a thing as filled interrogation cards. If somebody's riding a bike and they're carrying, something that may have just been picked up from somebody's carport, you can, question, maybe make a note of it on your card. It can be provided to the city. And if somebody on social media, I know Liz reads them, says, oh, my car was broken into, this was taken, you can look at that report and say, oh yeah, well, this person, you know, was questioned on that and turned out it didn't come from her Aunt Sally or whatever, you know? So anyways, I know my 3 minutes is up. Can I just touch on the fact, I missed the 6:30 beginning, is it okay?
It's up to you.
Is it okay?
That's fine with your guy, go ahead.
On the, I missed the Juliette presentation, and I'm really sorry about that, I'll catch it on Joe's video. But, I have heard statistics from Provoking Hope at 78%, and, I've also heard, feeding 35 to 45 people a week at the American Legion. Well, I just caution taking things at face value, because I have worked, and I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, because I really like this lady, and she really likes me. And I have volunteered, and I know that number is highly exaggerated. I will continue to help her. Probably the cooling station, I will be one of those volunteers. That's just, I provide good service, I'm well liked, I like her, I love listening to veteran stories. So that was all, it's like, I'm Provoking Hope, if you could get the CPS, somebody is willing to talk to them and get, you know, your own data. That's all I'm, you know, because I got mine, and I know that it isn't as high. One thing I did notice is, somebody came in and asked if there was a clothing voucher, and somebody that day had just brought in a sack of clothing, and so I run out, it's like, who's needing the voucher? And they come in and they took what they needed, you know? So something like that, if we could expand, because I know people that will volunteer to bring clothing in if we have a rack for them. So things like that, I know I can help with, but, I just caution on the numbers, just to kind of find out for yourself, just as a, so, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and I can help Gwen with the books too.
Okay, Heidi, I believe you had one.
Oh, yes, thank you for the reminder. This one is the gentleman that was here earlier, he said he had to go, he had an appointment, and I think his name is Shane Patrick. I'm not sure if this is an E.
Aaron.
Okay. And so he said, that he would really like to see that there's, porta potties added, to the, what he calls the rock area, but I figured out he's talking about the Veterans Center, or the Veterans Park. And then he also would like there to be a, bathrooms that are on Bridge Street, and he would like to see a 5-bathroom porta potty. So porta potty available at the Veterans Park, Bridge, and then he would really like to see them open 24/7. It sounded like that's what he was saying, 24/7 at the city park. And so him and I are gonna be in communication, because I know that there's expenses that come up with those porta potties. Usually they're really damaged and the city has to pay for it. So him and I are gonna communicate more about that.
Great. Okay, so I think that was all the.
Yeah, I'm sorry, he did mention that he's been working really hard to make sure that people know not to damage the porta potties. That's an important piece of what he shared.
Okay, so mayor, council comments, I'll say, real quick, as far as like what the reports are, they, you go on there on our council packets that are posted, usually Thursday, right?
Council packets usually are uploaded late Thursday afternoon and delivered Friday morning. If I'm lucky to have them printed, but before 3:30, because honestly, the guys don't really deliver packets after 3:30 in the afternoon. But a lot of time I'm hitting the go button at 4 o'clock.
As far as like any of the data in our department reports, they're all on our website.
Yes, all of those department reports are on our website, for the gentleman that was asking about that. Pretty easy to get there. There's, several different ways you can get to that on our website. So you could go to the government spot up there, or down here, we call this the film strip down here, and if you just scroll over till you see the little spot that says meetings, and it'll take you to just a little bit down to city council meetings, and it'll list the dates for the meetings, and this one right here is the council packet and all of the materials that you were asking about, including those department reports. So they're all on our website for every single meeting we have, and then we also upload all of our minutes and the audio recording of our meetings, which is a separate recording that's not Joe's recording.
And it's not visual, it's just
Correct, it's only the hearing, so.
Right, then, Heidi, do we sometimes have physical copies of the packet here for anybody else?
Always,
Okay,
but,
so you can always
but
look
they,
at,
but,
to look at.
yes.
Yeah, we need them back, but.
We always have, yes, we always can have one in-house for you to look at, sit in here, but if you wanna pay, I think it's 25 cents a packet, or 25 cents a page.
Yeah.
For the whole packet, or 25 cents a page. So, we recommend for people to either look at it on here, look at it online, go to the library during library hours, there, Glenn knows how to find them, so.
Okay. All right, any council comments? So Jim?
The status of the $225,000 that can only be spent on housing, if we ascertain that that's the fact, that it can only be spent on shelters / housing, is that?
That's what it sounds like. There's,
I wouldn't say there's a slash, just shelters.
yeah, it's,
So at the next meeting, maybe we can finally put that question to bed and take care of it, having it on the agenda and vote on it.
There was a follow-up question, and so I am looking, shoot, I just kicked the thing. Sorry. There is a follow-up question, and so they're doing some research at DAS, so I would, yeah, it's not on your meeting tonight for a motion, so.
can we put it on the next, if the rest of the council's fine with that, can we put it on the next agenda?
It cannot be given back to go, I know that there was a discussion, like give it to somebody to be able to be used, and it can not, it's like.
Non-transferable.
No, it's like, as in,
We
some
can't
other
say
city.
no and have them give it to somebody else.
Yes,
So
so
we
we'll just
just
go
say-
back to the general fund in July 1st, 2025. So technically, yes, the money can't be done anything until July 1st, 2025.
So it would be the states again, we would have access to it.
Yes.
Danny?
We're gonna get back to talking about Mill and Morgan Street houses. I'd like to get that on the next agenda. 2 weeks is gonna be April, we're a quarter way through the year. We've been working on this, trying to learn to burn, or burn to learn. The one house, it needs cleaned out. It needs asbestos and lead testing. So does the Mill Street house, it needs cleaned out and tested. And we're just burning daylight here. I'm not saying we're tearing anything down except for the one house, but we need to move forward. And I like the guy, whoever cleans out one, cleans out them both, so we can get it done and get the testing done immediately. For nothing but progress. So I don't think we can talk about it tonight, but at the next meeting, April 1st, quarter way through the year, because what's gonna happen, it's gonna be too late, we can't burn it. Weather's gonna be to where we can go till next winter again. So I'd like to see that, it's just been going too long.
Yes. Jim?
And also, I don't know if rats and mice prevent the normal spring cycle, but probably have to produce even more rats and mice if we wait too long on that.
Lucy? Not Lucy.
Lizzie.
It will be next.
Lizzie.
Liz.
So our next meeting is a work session, right?
Yeah, special session.
Special session. So I would like to propose an ordinance revision, so could that be on the agenda for ordinance
You're looking the
5?
wrong way, Liz.
Oh, may that be on the agenda for ordinance 5.23, and that's the solicitation ordinance.
Yeah,
It's archaic.
Do you think you'll have any of your materials or presentations ready by then?
Yep. I can do
Then yeah,
that.
we can have it on the agenda then.
All right. Good, thank you.
Okay.
All right, Lizzie.
So, first of all, I think we should consider making Sheridan a bee city. I think that's a cute idea because we're wanting to be a tree city. The bee city, and I keep seeing this cute little animated bee, you know. But, and I think it actually is an approachable statement for somebody instead of fear, especially with the education that they're gonna get. I'm getting educated, so I think it's kind of a cute little additive that Sheridan is. And then while I'm in that mode, is it the best drinking water certificate? What do you call it? I call it the best drinking water.
2021.
Yes, it did not happen.
It didn't happen, but could we apply for that this year?
We did,
You did?
and we didn't get it this
Oh.
year.
When is the
Don't-
next?
Yeah, I thought it was.
I thought that was
It was
2023.
like last week.
Last week, oh, okay.
Oh, I thought it was
We
in
applied.
the summer.
Gary is very sad.
Look.
He's not.
Yeah, Gary. I'm after you, buddy, on that one.
He was very sad, Gary phone call that I got.
How close did it come?
Lebanon. Was that it?
Lebanon got best overall in the state, and then Avion, which is located basically within Bend, they won best groundwater.
So there wasn't, what about best tasting? I think that.
Lebanon won best source water and best tasting.
Okay. That's what we won previously.
Yes, that's what I would like to have that for bragging rights also.
Gary is unhappy.
And then the.
Good job for competing, how's that?
I did the best I could.
I participated.
Then.
They don't give out those participation trophies for this one.
All right, Lizzie, go ahead.
So, anyway, I'd like us to consider making Sheridan a bee city. I think we already voted on making it a tree city, or is that the Parks and Rec? Parks and Rec. Is that the Parks and Rec? Okay, so you probably may not know that, but they're thinking about applying to be a tree city with all the, because that's buyer friendly, tourist friendly statements also. And then,
Lucy, on that, could I say
Yeah.
before I start talking? It might be good, Lucy, if we asked the Parks and Rec committee to look into that.
okay,
Because
We already are, like,
The bee city.
oh, the bee city.
Yeah.
The tree and bee city.
I wasn't sure because, I know. Well, the only reason is because I know they're doing a lot of tree planting at the Southside Park. Aren't they doing quite a bit of planting there?
The trees, yeah. Are you sure that, should the bees be the planning commission? Because they got
sure,
really
I
deep
don't think
into
the
it.
council should be spending a ton of the front end work on that.
I think you could maybe, yeah.
The planning commission,
See if
because
that's
they got
the
really
does
deep
it.
into the bee conversation.
Well, they're already into it, so they got it passed, so could we make a note to the planning commission to whatever it takes to make it a bee city? I just thought we just.
But they can work on it.
Okay.
Job from council.
Tree.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Well, I'm not done yet. Danny, sorry, I'm getting there, Danny, I'm getting there. So first of all, the lady over there in the corner pocket that was talking,
Lisa.
is her name Lisa?
Lisa, yes.
Sorry, first of all. You know, she was talking about, clothing vouchers, which I think would kind of, it seems like that would fit in with the task force. You know, you give them a shower, you give them, you know, a restroom to use, you give them clothing. I like the word, she used vouchers, so I wrote the word voucher down.
There's a lady at the consignment shop on the main road that does that already.
A red lizard?
No.
We're still in a meeting.
Oh, sorry.
So anyway, I just thought that would be a really great thing to add to the task force, which is kind of like going to another category. But, because I thought that would be useful for folks. And then my question, and I'm not in opposition to Morgan Street being dismantled, but my bigger question to the council is, do you wanna keep that property or do you wanna sell it? Because if you wanna sell it, you could probably sell it for at least 100,000 just the way it sits. But that's because I know contractors that fix stuff like that. But if you wanna tear it down because the city wants to use it, because you're gonna dump a lot of money in it, going through all the tests to get everything done, to have a flat lot. A flat lot is not gonna be worth as much as a house that's pre-existing. You take no liabilities as a city because you're selling it as is. So they're gonna take it with the rats, and if it had asbestos, if it had lead paint, and it might have been prior to 1979, I believe, they would take on all of that when they bought it, and then you would just get a check. But if you wanna keep it, I'm all for keeping it and then tearing it down and be able to use it in a future use, but it's very important because it's maybe only gonna be, maybe, and I'm just using 100 because I had two people ask me about it. And when I said 100, they didn't blink an eye at me. And I was thinking, oh, maybe I should have bumped that a little bit. But, you know, so I think that's something that the council might want to consider. You're going to get more out of it in the long run if you sell it. But if you want to turn it down, which I don't have a problem with, I'm all about that too. That was the only question, is the value of that property actually is worth more to a contractor, the way it sits right over there, the way it is, than if it's a bare lot. But I also am not a big advocate for selling any of the city's property. So I think we could use it for something down the road somewhere. It's something you should think about.
And do you know offhand the size of that lot, of that Oregon Street house that's on?
Well, I do, it's small, real small.
Okay, real small, okay.
But the house is a 1,400 square foot house, and there's a thing called the Blueprint Foundation. So that's what they use to work with when they're doing it, because it is zoned commercial, and they would have to go to our city planner to see if they could use it for residential/commercial. So depending on those answers, not, you know, somebody would still be interested in it, and I told them it's currently zoned commercial, but you might be able to keep it that way, but it would also be, has been used as a residential. I'm just throwing it out there as a question for the council in regards to keeping it.
I was just curious, because I know there were some lots in town being sold for between 150, 200,000, but they're probably larger than that lot, so I was just curious about that.
And the thing on a commercial lot, if somebody were to build on it, which I don't think the code's changed, on a commercial lot, there are no setbacks. You can build right up to the property line, right up to the side, just like kind of how you could just build right up to the property line, just like the old Rexall store or the DMC Fitness Center.
I think, sounds like Denny would like to discuss that or an update, so maybe we just put that on the agenda as a topic, we can discuss it further, and hopefully maybe, I don't know, do we want to try and get it cleaned out first prior to that meeting, or should we wait till the meeting to decide that?
I think you should, well, it's a cost that you're gonna pay for, that anybody else would just take on as part of the.
Yeah, but I feel like I might buy a house if there's
Yeah.
But a contractor dumps it all out. But I'm just, you know, that's coming from a contractor.
Denny, go ahead.
I do, I like what you're thinking there, Lucy, but I do have some major concerns with that house. And not just because of lead and asbestos, but black mold. And I have helped and seen houses had to be torn down because of the black mold, how it was so infested into the structure. It's really hard once it gets going to really get it out of there, once it's coming in, and that one looks really bad.
Okay, maybe it might be a good idea to, maybe both houses, check for asbestos, mold, and lead paint, because when you are selling it, you have to, I mean, we don't know for sure. We have to disclose that anyways, if I'm right, or I might be wrong, but we could also talk about this.
The council already voted to do all that testing, and we've already agreed to talk about this at the next meeting. Council and mayor concerns and comments are not the time to start a new discussion. That everyone has.
Just some clarifications.
I move to adjourn. Second.
Well, I want to say one more thing.
Okay, well,
When we're looking at Stony Mountain and they're bringing that water line down, I have had two people mention to me, and I think I mentioned it at our last meeting, I just want to make sure it's written in the notes for Stony Mountain, that when you have an electric power connect, some people, when you're first constructing it, they put in power generators every 5 and 10 feet, and if you did that, then Sheridan could actually produce its own electricity. And it might be a nice thing to keep in mind when we're developing the Stony Mountain water, because that's a heck of a long ways to come into town. And they put the little turbines in there every so many feet, and then it generates power to the city.
That was a part of the original.
the hydroelectric.
And I never, no, somebody please adjourn.
Right, Denny,
No, somebody please adjourn.
would you like to adjourn?
Yes, I made a motion.
Second.
Let's take a
Okay.
vote.
All right, we are adjourned at 8:56. Oh, sorry.
Did she have a comment?
No, she was gonna vote on it.
Recording stop.
It's more like you have to quickly and loudly object.
I think it's Dan's assignment that does the vouchers.
Here or? Because I know in Willamina, the Kendall girls do it too. For their thrift shop, the Kendall girls, oh my gosh.
Hi, Denny.
You know who I mean?
I'm not sure.
Meredith, they have the thrift shop in Willamina, next to
Okay,
us.
yes.
They do the same thing, they have vouchers, like if someone goes in, cause I just donated a mattress, some kids didn't have mattresses to sleep on. So I did, and I had one, an extra one upstairs, so I donated that. And they'll do, they don't help anybody out that way.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
But, Pam's, I've given things to quite often, so I think
it's next door to the bulletin board.
Yes.
Okay, I know what you mean.
She gets vouchers from the American Legion, and when somebody needs something or comes in needing something, they go to her, and she gives them jackets, hygiene,
So
days.
I have a bunch of clothes, can I take them to her?
Yeah, all right, good. Well, she's not open every single day, but not everybody, she does care.
Do you have your hives already?
I got the boxes ready, but they're not, I haven't
I
logged
wanted
in.
to do it too, but I'm a little nervous because they were diamond. I thought I said,
But yeah,
because
you
that's
and
easy.
Christina both do like, especially when I'm so tired, I don't read that much. Especially tired.
He's available to anybody who's in there. Oh, he was contacted today and showed up tonight.
You're right.
Just have a good day, I should get.
Thank you for doing it because it's on. And she really could be 20 years.
I saw you were writing.
Cheers.